Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fight Legends video game dev update. I'm Sean S. Porter here, as always, with Disley from Dev. How are you doing today, man?
Yeah, awesome. How are you, my friend?
We're doing good, as always. Lots of exciting things going on. Some of them we can talk about, some of them we can't. We're going to get into them today. We've got Nyx in the game engine right now, which is very cool looking. Looks beautiful. We got the sixth character concept art that we're going to hit on early on. We also got a new stage that we're going to talk about that's not showable yet, but very cool to talk about. And we're also going to talk a little bit about who the next character might be and some of the mechanisms we're looking for there. So, yeah, man, let's get started. First, right
Yeah.
off the bat, top story, Nyx in game. It's we're using Unity, as everyone knows, and so talk us through what we're looking at right here. This looks awesome. Can't wait to be able to play her. How far off are we? Would you think?
Okay. Well, see, she pretty much is being sent off to rigging now. So that obviously involves all of the like little use cases and stuff that we need from it. Like her arm will obviously have actuating little joints that'll because we're basically preparing for her for having like a rocket punch attack.
Right.
So she's actually got the cable inside as well. So that'll be like extendable, and yeah, we could get some really cool animations out of it. But yeah, right now she's been sending off to rigging, so it shouldn't take too long, and then we'll start being able to play around with her animations and implementing her attacks in game. Um, we are focusing obviously heavily on our like combat prototype at the moment, using sort of Ross as our as our primary means of showing and showcasing it.
Right.
But we will be obviously starting to develop Nyx alongside that as well at the same time.
Right. So meaning that you're just taking his moves, putting them in there, just see how it looks on her.
Oh,
On
we
her
can
rig.
do that. We can do
Oh,
that.
okay.
That's what's one option, but
Mm-hmm.
mostly maybe the movement. But all of our characters will probably be like have unique animations as well. So
Well, I
yeah,
thought
we can
that's
we
what you
can
meant, like as a temporary thing. You were putting it in there. No, is that what
we
you were
can
saying?
do we can
Okay.
do yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. And yeah, I'm very excited about that. Actually, made me think of. Do you know Inspector Gadget over there in Australia?
Yeah, hell yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I know. Expect gadget.
We
Yep.
could have some sort of like she could go. I mean, go gadget arm would be too on the nose, but we got to think of some kind of catchphrase there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Awesome,
Let's
man.
do
All
it.
right. Well, awesome. And did you mention how she's going to be our next playable character, our first non IRL athlete character, and our first female character, of course. Do we have any kind of rough idea of where we are in the process, at least, of seeing her in the Bloody Faces early access demo?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been spending time developing the characters in the background with all of their sort of like what their personalities are, their sort of gauge mechanics, and how they would operate with their attacks. It's still a part of the combat sort of prototype that we're making, so it's obviously subject to change. But I'd say within the next few weeks, we'll start seeing her in the engine, even if it's just like tentatively with like in the beginnings of her animations, so
Ooh,
that people can jump around with her and stuff like that.
nice.
And then hopefully, within the next few weeks after that, she'll be fleshed out with attacks, and we'll start getting some Ross on next combat action.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting, man. I can't wait for that. Awesome. Next, we have the actual sixth character concept art, which is looking very cool. Tell us a little bit about that rope dart fighting style. We've talked a little bit in the past about how that's going to be a flowy style. Where
Yeah.
where are we today this week?
So we've just cut back one of our. It's getting close to finished. There's a couple more things we need to get from it. We need to make like a turnaround so that our 3D character artists can start actually making it into 3D. But the mechanics behind it will be really fun to play with. Basically, we want to make it so that the flowing nature of the attacks leads on depending on the timing of when you press the button. So it's going to be one of those cool characters where there's quite a lot of variance and play and subtlety with how you actually fight with the character, all depending on how good your timing is with being able to position the attacks to go into the next ones. It's going to be really interesting for our animation director to play with, because it's quite a difficult thing to do. But I think that he's capable. He's got a lot of experience, so I think that it'll be really fun to start implementing into the engine.
Nice. And so, in the part, it's been like a dart. In the past, rather, in the art we've seen, it's been a dart on the end of a rope. Right now, it's like a mace or a ball. And I
Yep.
imagine like it'd be cool if there were NFTs and down the road, of course,
Mm-hmm.
that would be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I want it to be a arrowhead or an axe head or like whatever,
Yeah,
different, like a whole drop of
that would be
different
sweet.
potential heads for whatever you would call their rope style. Yeah, the rope dart.
I mean, technically, we'll have those in with the characters, but they'll probably just be full skins. So it'll most likely be that her whole appearance changes, and then therefore the aesthetic
Right.
of the weapon will change.
Very cool.
But we wanted to keep it. It's gone through a bunch of iterations already.
Right.
And we've kind of landed on this kind of a more of a ball kind of thing. At one point, our artist was he was suggesting that it could be like a mechanical like changing, and we were just like, that's going to be probably way too difficult to animate.
Now, what are we seeing here on the left that looks like a a tablet or what?
Okay, so that's they're her braces, and he was playing around with
on her wrists.
like actuating braces. So one of the cool things about our artists, our concept artists, is we give them kind of a bit of a freedom to play around with what sort of aesthetics the character could have and how it could work with their personality or even their mechanics. Right. So visually, it's like how it's displayed. So that could like be something that activates when she does a special attack or something. So there's just those little things that they consider and they'll add to some of the concepts to kind of give us a visual of what they're kind of cooking up.
Wow, you know what? If that rope is conductive and she's got electricity in those cuffs, she could hit people and electrocute them through the weapon.
See, that's the kind of stuff. See, why don't you be one of our character like designers? So this could.
Hey, man, I've been trying to write the lore. I've been giving hints. I've been dropping them left and right. No, yeah, my wife's an electrical engineer, so she would. I'm going to give props to her for that idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's awesome. And I love the ponytail. I love the style. And now the cuffs doing different things. That
I love as well the LFG that they've put in. He's put it in the ribbon.
Right.
So if you look at it, that's pretty cool.
I didn't even see that. That's awesome. I love it. That's so cool. All right, man. Well, that's super cool. Obviously, we're bullish on that. What else do we got here? We've got a new stage that we want to talk about a little bit. It looks like we're working on maybe some sort of laboratory. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm very excited to hear about this.
Yeah, so it's still the early stages of the design, but we've gone through a couple of different iterations already to kind of taking from the angle of like a tech kind of lab. Now it's sort of moving on to potentially just evolving that concept a bit and including more parts that what could a lab actually have in it, things like that, and what kind of background could it be, the angle of the stage itself. So we're still kind of in those stages. We've got a very, very early rough concept, but it'll probably change drastically. So we're not ready to show it just yet. Well, in the next week or so, we might have an update that we could show.
Okay. Have you seen Westworld?
Yeah, I've seen a bit of it. I started watching the first few episodes. I hadn't continued the rest of it.
So it always pops in my head when we talk about this because it's so laboratory clean with the robots in there. But then towards the end of the show, they start just, obviously trashing the place. But I could imagine having like a dynamic levels or stages with like things breaking and beakers flying all over the place.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Yeah, that'd be so cool as a game like developer. That'd be amazing to try and put into the game. And we'll think about it. I'll think about it. Yeah, I like the idea of having dynamics in the stages that they can either change or adapt, or you could even have the stage playable from two separate sort of angles, so to speak, depending on which version you pick. So we'll play around with that idea. That sounds cool.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never even thought about that. Yeah, what was it? It was like a DC. It was like a DC fighting game that had a lot of different dynamic stages, and that was pretty cool. And being able to like throw someone into like the cryogenic freezer and have them freeze and then pop out and break the ice or something. Yeah, it would be like an ode to Sub-Zero, but without copying the move.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty mad. Yeah.
See, ideas, man. I'm an idea guy. All right, what else? And then let's see. We got the IRL. Oh yeah, so. After Nyx, we've been working on that, but also we've been working on a long time. It was formerly known as Cookie. Now we're going to adapt him to the IRL athlete, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, heavyweight championship boxer. And we were talking a little bit before we went on air about his cool mechanic he might have with the blocking, the special blocking mechanic. Tell us a little bit about that idea.
With Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Shannon, basically, because of his fighting, what I've tried to do is start to develop the combat mechanics around the characters based on their backgrounds, based on the things that sort of make them unique, their personalities. Shannon, obviously, coming from more of a boxing background, I was thinking it would be really cool, I think, to have sort of lean into those kinds of boxing mechanics. So one of the abilities that he could potentially have, obviously it's not set in stone yet, but that he could have almost like, as long as he's got stamina, his block is actually impenetrable. or at least it doesn't take damage from attacks. It would use the stamina bar instead, like as a replacement for health. So just like other characters would take, even if they block, they'll take a small bit of damage from the attack, depending on how much the attack does. But yeah, Shannon could just have it so that it's like, nope, completely block that. Sort of lean into the idea that like a boxer has to go through that sort of stamina through the rounds as well. So that's why the mechanic would probably be kind of more of a stamina mechanic, and how we can use that.
This is very interesting. So what you're saying is, usually in a fighting game, I pick my guy, you pick your guy, and our bars are the same. Maybe there's a special bar, but it's same. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get the super special. Maybe you can use it before then, like Marvel vs. Capcom style.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is each fighter might have that bar representing something different, at least
unique
in their special move or in like some kind of special mechanism.
Yep. So like, for example, Nyx, she's Ross might have like a turbo gauge. Basically what I'm thinking is a dynamo or a battery, because it's sort of like representative of like charging up and then releasing.
Right.
So that's kind of a cool sort of idea.
Yes.
And Nyx will probably have like something of like potentially like a fuel gauge, where her prosthetics can have function based on that fuel, and then you can design the mechanic around that kind of process, rather than it's still technically all gauges. It's sort of a familiarity with that style of like, it's still sort of a gauge. It's just how the gauge is used or activated. The slightly different mechanics that actually gives it more uniqueness to each character.
Wow, that's super cool. Well, that's interesting. Can't wait to see more about that for sure.
That's the prototype, so that'll be coming soon. We're currently going through the process of developing the prototype and then giving it to our advisors and getting feedback and constantly iterating. So that's basically what the Bloody Faces can play right now. It's just the prototype.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see maybe even like it builds up, and that's because we talked about with Shannon himself on one of the fight companions, he would like going into cannon mode, right? And he's really famous for his body punches. So I can just imagine like, and I don't know how much goes into the lore, but I mean, some kind of cannon like. Who was the guy in Mortal Kombat with half the metal body and like it turns into a cannon? And he just like sends a liver shot to the other guy.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff. Yeah, I was thinking of one of his special abilities, basically just being like a cannon punch.
Yes.
Exactly like what you're talking about. So yeah, that's probably going to make it in there somewhere, at least in the prototype.
Love it. Awesome. All right, and then last but not least, of course, this is huge, and we're just going to sneak around it a little bit and talk about this 10K drop that's coming up. What can we say? What can we talk about here? I mean, we know
we can drop a couple little things.
Okay.
We're planning for the drop to basically be quote unquote free. We basically want to give our community a chance to start getting into the NFTs with our project without we don't really care to raise revenue off of this one. Right. It's not going to be like a big funding push or anything. So it'll be gas only, and you'll basically be picking up. For want of a better word, a friend that will help you throughout the game. So nice. This will be, without spilling the beans too much, like that'll give people a little bit.
So like the paperclip on Microsoft, right?
Yeah, just really
less annoying.
Less annoying.
Yeah, exactly. You beat me to it. Yeah, exactly. That's the joke. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That sounds cool. You can see all sort of iterations in this throughout gaming. I can already imagine different ways this would be useful. This will at least be like the cool custom skin for it, so that yours doesn't look like everyone else's, maybe, or something.
Exactly. Yep.
So,
100%, that's exactly what we're planning.
Yeah, awesome. And that's going to be coming soon. We're going to start hopefully being able to show you guys all a little more art on that side of things. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're checking out the website, checking out bloodyfaces.io. Remember, purchasing that Bloody Faces not only gets you access to the super early demo right now, which is basically just our prototype, our working demo, but you're also going to get access eventually to whitelists for the future NFTs that are going to be in game, and you're also going to get access to a marketplace, special stages, all sorts of cool things. So make sure everyone checks that out every Thursday night. Make sure you're checking this out, and we'll see you next time on the Dev Update. Check you out.